It's Over Opinionated. Opinionated with Josh Scott.
Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to Over Opinionated. I'm sorry I didn't post anything last week. I did shoot a podcast with a good Lutheran Christian Ray Sexton. If you want to watch the YouTube video, I have the full YouTube video up. I was just struggling with getting the audio out, but I'm going to finish that and publish that this week. But getting to the brass tacks, it was the big debate night. Now, I've been wanting to see this political debate for a long time. I wanted to see how Joe Biden would do. And listen, most of the time when it comes to debates, when it comes to State of the Union, Joe shows up. Now, most of the time he's yelling, or he's being extremely exaggerative, and he might slip up a few times. Last Thursday night, I was at work. I didn't get to see most of the visuals. I've seen most of the important visuals now, but I listened to the entire debate on my phone on YouTube, and my goodness, that was embarrassing. I mean, I was talking to a friend who called me halfway through the debate, and I didn't talk to him long, and I just told him, I gave him a brief recap, and he told me, he said, I know you don't normally embellish your words, and you're not, if this was someone else telling me this, I would have found it hard to believe, but, and he said, even though you don't embellish your words, you're not flamboyant most of the time, I still found it very hard, to believe that he did that bad. and he went and he saw, he's like, well, Josh was right. Biden was awful. And there's two sides of me, and I'm not going to lie. There's the side of being a Republican that wants to see Donald Trump win, because I think that's the best thing for America. I'll be honest with you. Trump was not my favorite candidate in 2016. I didn't vote for him in the primaries in 2016, but when he won, I came to terms that he was better than Hillary Clinton. The same thing in 2024. I thought Ron DeSantis was a better candidate than Donald Trump, as much good as Donald Trump has done. You can disagree with me. That's okay. But by the time the primary came to my state, it was just Nikki Haley versus Donald Trump, and I was not going to vote for Nikki Haley. I cannot stand her. So I pulled the lever for Donald Trump, and but I'm just saying, both times where there was a contested primary, 2016 and 2024, Trump wasn't my favorite candidate. He wasn't my worst candidate at all, but I really do think Trump is the best candidate out of these two. And I don't know how you can look at both of their records and the debate, the performance last night, and say that Biden's the better candidate. I just don't know how you think that. And I know the Democrats will say Joe Biden has a stutter. Are you really going to make fun of a man who has a stutter? No, most of the time I won't. I have a stutter. Everyone that listens to this podcast knows I have a stutter. But Joe Biden had no idea what he was doing last night. It was bad. And I don't like it when people say, oh, he has dementia or Alzheimer's, because I've personally known people, really good people that I love, that had that before they passed away. And so I don't like it when people say that because they're not a doctor. But I can say this. It's okay for you to say he doesn't look all there, because he does not look all there. And we know it has to do with his age. If you go back to the 2012 vice presidential debate with him and Ron Paul, he performs very well. He does. He performs very well. The speaker, I might have said it's Rand Paul. Yeah, sometimes I mix their names up, but I know his face. He was the speaker when Donald Trump was president for the first 2 years. Then he decided not to run again. But if you watch that debate in 2012, he does very well. He might stumble, he might have his stutter, and he does have a little bit of a stutter and a speech impediment, but he knows what he's talking about. Joe Biden was out of it. And, there's been a conservative joke for a long time that they put him on drugs for the State of the Union and for these debates and long appearances. And the left might say it's a conspiracy theory, but I don't think it is. If you watch Thursday night's debate and you watch the State of the Union, you're seeing two different people. And, I really do think they probably give him some drugs that help him out. And you might say, well, they couldn't have gave him any drugs, any Adderall, anything last night because he was awful. Yeah, maybe they could have. Maybe they gave it to him too close to the debate time and it didn't kick in. And actually, if you watch the debate, he gets a little bit better in the middle as it goes on, and then he just drops off again. So, when it comes to debates, they're mostly performances, how well you present yourself, how well you present your position. They're not very in-depth. If you want to watch an in-depth debate, you need to go watch any of James White's debates with Alpha and Omega in Ministries. And you'll see a 3-hour-long debate on one topic. Or a 4-hour-long debate in one topic. Okay? You can't throw in multiple topics like abortion, climate change, if you want to put that in there, the economy, and expect them to be able to debate this whole issue within 90 minutes. You just can't do it. So you give your position, you maybe have a quick rebuttal, then it's on to the next issue like that. And but Biden looked really bad. I'm not going to play too much of the debate because I don't want this to get struck down by copyright. But I am going to play you a Trump ad. And you might say, well, this was clipped out of context and all this. No, it really wasn't. This ad it's a brutal ad about how Joe Biden performed in the debate last night. And it shows how weak he is. I will say this, as a Republican, I'm very pleased at how bad Joe Biden did because it made Trump look better. And this is the best debate performance I've seen from President Donald Trump. Better than any of the debates he had with Hillary Clinton. Definitely better than what he had in 2020, where he was just a screaming madman. He presented himself calm, cool, and collective. Now, there are a couple times that you got some Trumpisms about him saying, oh, I was the best on this and the best on that. Yes, that's just how Trump talks, guys. Okay? And now, did he maybe nag on Biden a little bit about his golf game? Yeah, he did. He also had one of the funniest lines of the debate when he said, let's not act like children. And it was, oh man, we'll get to that part later. But that was the funniest line of the debate for Donald Trump, is him looking at the president and saying, let's not act like children. And then Joe was just like, yeah, you are a child. You are. He sounded so bad. And now they're blaming it on a cold. And listen, maybe he had a cold, but still, that was, man, I mean, he didn't look like he had a cold. He looked like he was on death row. And I'm not saying that the joke. I mean, he really looked awful. And how do you let your husband, how is Joe Biden, I'll just be honest, the First Lady of the United States, Dr. Joe Biden, is being a complete awful wife to Joe Biden. She should try her best to convince him not to run. Except she's dragging him from here to there. She's basically doing his campaign rallies at this point. I'll show y'all guys later on. She's basically talking for him. She's basically Edith Wilson. Woodrow Wilson suffered a stroke, I think, either the last 2 years of his presidency or his last year of presidency. I can't remember. And it was pretty much an open secret that she was being the president behind the scenes. She would, she would even pick up his hand and sign it for him in a lot of instances. And she was making a lot of decisions. And I don't know if Joe's that bad, but man, if you watch that debate last night, he's not far from it. And if I am a loving member of Joe Biden's family, I'm asking him, do not run again. Step down. Because you need to go be at your home in Delaware, enjoy the latter years of your life with your children and grandchildren and your wife. And you just have no business being behind the Oval Office. It can't be good for him. It cannot be healthy for him to have one of the most stressful jobs in the world, and he doesn't know if he's on the moon or in Washington, D.C. Alright, I'm going to play you this ad.
Let's take a quick break.
Has anybody ever told you you were over opinionated? How about this one? You can talk about everything you like, but don't talk about religion, don't talk about faith, don't talk about politics. My name is Darrell McClain, host of Darrell McClain's Show, and I want to introduce you to a show called Over Opinionated with my friend from Southwest Virginia, Josh Scott. Josh has always been told he has been over-opinionated. He always tried to hold back these opinions, but he tried to back them up when he had to say something with facts and logic. Since he's grown up in many ways, he had to change a lot of his views and his opinions, as a lot of people should. He's not a millionaire from Fox News or CNN. He's just a hard-working, blue-collar type of guy. Give Josh Scott a shot at Over Opinionated with Josh Scott. You can find him on patreon.com/overopinionated at 679. You can also check him out on Twitter at NRV_guy79. Over Opinionated with Josh Scott, where he is this soft-spoken guy telling you the truth.
For what? Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. With dealing with everything we have to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare, we're trying to provide housing for Black Americans. The impact on the choice, the idea that they're gonna, I've been proposing that everybody, the millionaires pay 1%. So no one I've not raised the cost of Social Security for anybody. I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. And wants to get rid of the ability of Medicare for us to be able to negotiate drug prices with the big pharma companies. What I'm going to do is fix the tax system. For example, we have 1,000 trillionaires in America. Billionaires in America. No one was hurt. No one Israeli was accidentally killed, and it just stopped. And I'm going to continue to move until we get the total ban on the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more border patrol and more asylum officers.
And that was really the whole debate last night for Joe Biden. It was really, really bad. And, I've been saying as a Republican, as, conservative, I was glad. But as an American, I'm concerned. Because the leaders of the world knows that that's our president. They know he's weak. That's why Russia invaded Ukraine, is because how weak Biden was. They saw the awful pullout in Afghanistan, which was 100% Joe Biden's fault. And don't let the Democrats try to convince you that it was Trump's fault, because Trump's signed an agreement with the Taliban. Yeah, Trump was going to pull out, but he was going to try to pull out responsibly, not leave tons of equipment behind for the Taliban to take over, not to allow 13 or 16 soldiers being killed in combat, and then the absolute horror of them pulling out of that airport where Afghani mothers are handing their babies to U.S. soldiers so they can just live. It was one. Trump was right when he said that was one of the most embarrassing moments in the United States history. And it was. It was disgusting what Joe Biden did, and he should deserve the whole blame for it. And I hope America remembers that when they go to vote in November. But, I'm just really concerned because you have Taiwan right next to China, and you have Ukraine, you have Israel and Palestine, and all of these situations basically are happening because how weak Joe Biden is. If Trump was president, I don't see this happening at all. And I want to touch on abortion a little bit. They argued about abortion. Joe Biden's response was incoherent, like most of the night. He said he supported Roe v. Wade, but he didn't support late-term abortions. Well, Roe v. Wade would allow for late-term abortions. Roe v. Wade didn't say the states had to restrict abortions at all. It said the states couldn't restrict abortions past a certain time period. And then Casey versus Planned Parenthood said that the states can do what they want after 20 weeks. But if a state wanted you to be able to have an abortion all the way up till birth, you could. And in my state, in the Commonwealth of Virginia, you can get an abortion all the way up to birth. And I know Democrats will say, well, that's only for emergencies or this or that or that. But it happens. It happens. And listen, all abortion is bad. The pill is bad. The abortion right at birth is bad. It all kills an unborn human being. And it should be banned. Unborn babies should have equal protection under the law. We know that these are babies. We have the proof. We know that once a sperm and an egg join, it forms an embryo. At that point, it's an unborn human being. It might not look like me or you, but it has everything it's going to ever have with its DNA, and it is an unborn human being, and it deserves equal protection under the law. And that's why I'm also against IVF, and I think all Christians should be against IVF. And then some people will say, well, what about this beautiful baby that was conceived by IVF? Well, I'm glad they're here. We're not going to take them away. But what about all their fellow siblings that were destroyed? All those embryos that we destroyed because had all the amount of children that we wanted. So, because it's expensive to store your embryos in these labs. It is. I don't know how expensive it is, but I know it's expensive. So, you either donate them or you destroy them. And and there are so many kids that need parents through adoption. So, I'm not saying that children born from IVF aren't made in God's image. They are. They're special. But I'll never do it. And I don't think anyone should do it. And if you're going to do it, you can't kill the embryos. You can't just destroy them once you're done having children. But Donald Trump is taking a very liberal position on abortion for a Republican. And there's a reason he's doing that. He has come to the conclusion that he has evangelical Christians in his pocket. And he's right. He does. He has evangelical Christians in his pocket. So he's saying, since abortion is so hard to win over a lot of people on, because most people are pro-abortion, sadly. Now, most people aren't for abortion all the way up till birth, but most people want to allow abortion at least in the first and a lot in the second trimester. So, he's making the calculated gamble with evangelicals. He said, I've proved myself enough with them and they love me that I'm going to be more liberal on the position. Now, some people have been calling him pro-abortion and pro-choice. I don't think that's fair because he does have some requirements. He doesn't think you should have an abortion all the way till birth. So I would say that Donald Trump is a weak pro-lifer, a very, very weak pro-lifer. And not as pro-life as I am, that's for sure. I'm very upset at Trump about abortion. He said on the stage that the abortion pill is okay. He wouldn't do anything to stop it. Well, the abortion pill kills more babies than surgical abortions at this point, and it's legal in all 50 states, and it shouldn't be. And that makes me mad at Trump. It's ungodly. Both Biden and Trump took an ungodly position, but now some pro-lifers and people that call themselves abolitionists. And I love the abolitionist heart, that they want to get rid of abortion completely, and I do too. But the difference is you have to do it responsibly sometimes. You can't say if you're not going to hold to the same position on abortion that I do, I won't vote for you. Because baby steps are the right way of getting rid of this. There's an old saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time or small bites? Well, you eat an elephant by small bites. And overturning Roe v. Wade was a huge win. I know that abortion is still a big deal. I know that there are still babies that are being killed and they're still dying in all 50 states. But we're going to keep working. We're going to keep fighting those culture wars. We're going to keep trying to tell people how awful abortion is, and unless God comes back, I believe that one day we will prevail. Now, that doesn't mean there will never be abortions, but I believe that eventually, because we are in the moral right on this issue, that we will prevail somehow, some way. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen in my lifetime. This might be something that takes 200-300 years. But look how long slavery was institutionalized, for thousands of years. And we eventually were able to get rid of slavery. And a lot of it was through Christian abolitionists. Christians saying that black people are made in the image of God, that slavery is wrong. We have to keep making those arguments. Now, that doesn't mean that people won't kill their babies if abortion is outlawed. Some of them will. But there'll be consequences for doing so. Just like there's still murderers in the world. Yeah, but murder's against the law. And if we find out that you killed someone, then there are consequences for your actions. It's the same thing with abortion. We just have to we have to convince these people that unborn babies are unborn babies. They're not just a clump of cells. And, technically, we're all clumps of cells. But, Biden rambles and Trump gives a good answer. He says, now, it's not a godly answer, but it's a good answer. He said, I'm leaving this up to the will of the people. Each state will be able to decide what they want to do with abortion. And he accepts the typical exceptions of life of the mother, rape, and incest. And he's against late-term abortions. Biden said he is against late-term abortions, and then he just rambles. Now, one of the reasons I bring this up is obviously I'm very pro-life, and y'all know that, and I'm trying my best to help the pro-life cause out. But not only that, but I was talking to a friend about this, and he told me it's like, Josh, on a certain part of Trump's response, it was almost like you coached him, and it really was. I say this all the time. I'm from the Commonwealth of Virginia. Governor Ralph Northam used to be my governor until we replaced him with we replaced him with Glenn Youngkin. Ralph Northam wasn't up for re-election, but we got a good governor in there now. And but Ralph Northam went on a radio show and was talking about abortion and talked about what they should do, to an unborn baby that survives the botched abortion. And Ralph Northam said, I can almost quote it verbatim. He says, the mother and the doctor will have a discussion. We'll keep the baby comfortable, and we'll do what the mother desires. Well, basically he was saying we can kill the baby after it's born. Because it was a botched abortion, it's born now, why not just kill it? It's basically what he was saying. Now, he went back and said, no, that's not what I meant. Y'all misunderstood my words. Everyone in the world, including the Democrats, now the Democrats will lie about it, knew what he meant. And I'm so glad that President Trump brought that up. There's a ridiculous, basically communist Twitter account called Blue Virginia. Honestly, they're the most ridiculous Democrats I've ever seen. Super far left. They call anyone with biblical values a Christo-fascist, meaning a Christian fascist. And, they defend Ralph Northam and talk good about Ralph Northam all the time. And whenever they say anything about Ralph Northam, I just copy and post what he said, word for word. And people were saying that Trump lied about that there's no such thing as a fourth-term abortion and this and that. Yeah, a fourth-term abortion is just called killing a baby outside the womb. And, now is it legally protected in this state? No. But my my former Governor Ralph Northam, said that you could kill a baby after a botched abortion. Now, Democrats might say, no, he didn't actually. We know what he said. It was on the record, okay? So, yeah, Trump hit that hard. Now, hardly nobody wants to kill a baby after a botched abortion. You can see it. You can see it kicking and screaming, okay? You know it's a human being at that point. Most Americans do not want that. A lot of I'd say most Americans really don't want third trimester abortions. Now, second's iffy, and then most want to allow first trimester abortions. And then Biden said that Trump lied on that. That's Biden's big thing is, he went out there and he said, I'm not as young as I used to be. I'm humble now, and I'm not as good at debating as I used to be, but I tell the truth. No, you don't. Listen, for everyone, all the Democrats out there saying Trump lied on the debate stage, there is a few times he lied. Okay? There's a few times he lied, and there's a few times Joe lied. That's what politicians do. They lie. I don't like that, but that's what they do. That doesn't mean that Joe Biden won this debate. He didn't. He lost. He got his butt kicked. He looked like he was a dead man. Honestly, he really did. If I was there, my goodness, if that was my grandpa, I would try my best during a commercial to break, to go over there and say, this is over, this is it. We'll make up some phony reason while we had the end of the debate. Some national emergency we can't tell anybody about. Something, because this is awful. And they're just leaving him out there. It was elderly abuse. I know people on the right are saying that because they're right. This is elderly abuse. If Jill Biden loved her husband, how can she put her husband up there to embarrass himself? And I know that I'll never be in the position to be president or governor or something like that. But I did. I was joking to my wife one day, but I meant it. I said, if I ever become 80 or 70 years old and I'm like Joe Biden, now if I'm sharp and everything, that's different, but I'm like Joe Biden, for the love of God, don't let me run for office. Don't let me be on a debate stage and be rambling. Please, just take me home. And she said, okay, I'll do that. I was like, well, thank you. I was talking to my grandpa. My grandpa, he's a great man. He's a pastor. He's very sharp. Like, my grandpa, even though he's not a politician and he wouldn't give the most politically charged answers, my grandpa would have beat Joe Biden in the debate last night because he's very sharp. He's very smart. He reads a lot. And I'm not saying I always agree with him because we do disagree on quite a bit of theological issues. But my grandpa is 83 years old. Joe Biden's 81. And I was talking to my grandpa, and he said, I'm 83 years old, and I was joking with him. I said, well, Pa, you might want to start thinking about you're getting at that age that you might want to run for Congress, because if when you get there, you'll probably be one of the younger people in Congress. And he just laughed because he knows I'm right. he knows I'm right. That man, I'm not an ageist. I think you could be 110 years old and run, but it's a mental thing, okay? It's a mental capacity, and when you get older, a lot of times your brain starts to slow. That's not true with everybody. I mean, look, I know y'all guys don't know my grandfather, but my grandfather, he's pretty sharp. But I've also met older people that they're not as sharp as they used to be. They're still good people. You still love them. They're still your family. But they're not as sharp as they used to be. They're slowing down. Their mind is slowing down. And it's sad. I pray that never happens to me or my wife. But it happens sometimes. And it is really bad with Joe Biden. So you can claim Trump lied. Okay, no. What's new? Politicians lie. Joe Biden lies. And, here's one lie he told during the debate, and it makes me so mad. I don't have diabetes. I pray I never do. Maybe one day I will, maybe I won't, but it runs in my family. And my mom died because she was a diabetic. She was a juvenile diabetic. And it took my mom's life about a year and a half ago. So I know a lot about diabetes. It's a horrible disease. And you don't have to just, if you're bigger, it does increase your chances of getting it. But there are also a lot of skinny people that have diabetes too. And my mom wasn't a big person. I'm a big person, but my mom wasn't that big. My dad's side of the family, Dad's a bigger guy. But still, Donald Trump signed an executive order for senior citizens that said you didn't have to pay more than so much when you get your insulin, because insulin can be very expensive. As soon as Joe Biden took office, like the first week, he signed an executive order getting rid of that executive order. Why would he do that? Well, he passed a bill through Congress when he had both houses of Congress that said that limited, and in part of that bill it limited insulin prices to $35 a month, I think. That was the cap for senior citizens. Okay, that's good. But it had a lot of pork in the bill too, and that's what he wanted. And he claims that he did that. He limited it. And Trump said, no, I did it first. And Trump is right. He did do it first. Factually, he did it first. And Biden reversed his executive order and then pushed it through Congress with a pork bill. And, my goodness, so Biden lied. Biden straight up lied. And Biden also, talking about the border, guess what? Biden said that the Border Control Union endorsed him. During the debate, the Border Control Union tweeted, "We did not endorse Joe Biden." Now, I don't think that Biden was lying there necessarily. I think he had a slip of the tongue because he was talking about a bill that he was trying to pass for Congress that was defeated, and he said the Border Control Union endorsed that bill. I think that's what he was trying to say. But if you're going to accuse Trump of lying, when you say the Border Control Union endorsed you, when it has not, it has endorsed Trump, then you can't call someone a liar when you've told multiple statements that are not true. Okay? Did Trump lie a few times? Yeah. Abortion was not one of them. Now, overall, I give Trump a B+ for this debate performance. There are a few things. He did avoid questions, but if you're going to avoid questions, I think you're going to do it like Trump did, because he used the time to answer a question to attack Biden on weak policies. And now, is it frustrating to a certain degree? Yes. But also, it's kind of frustrating that we're only having a 90-minute debate when this thing should be 3 or 4 hours. Now, that's a long time. I understand that. But if James White can debate religion with a Muslim or a Mormon or another Christian on one topic for 3 to 4 hours, can we not get a 3 to 4 hour debate on multiple topics? I mean, it's just, I understand that TV concerns and this and that, but that's why these presidential debates aren't true debates. They're just open platform performances to see who does better, to answer questions better, see who, But this debate actually, for a presidential debate, was really good. Jake Tapper and another female guest, I forget her name, forgive me, was the debate host for CNN. CNN is extraordinarily left-wing. Biden would not come on to a network that, his requirement was CNN or MSNBC. And, he requested the mics to be turned off. He requested no audience. And actually, the mics being turned off helped Trump, because he knew he couldn't interrupt. And Trump acted like a gentleman last night, basically, for the most part. And the debate monitors were really good. Now, I've seen some liberals cry and say, well, why were they not fact-checking Trump and this and that? Debate monitors should not be fact-checking. Okay, they are supposed to be neutral. And for one time, this is the first time I've ever seen debate monitors be neutral on a left-wing show. And they were. I will give Jake Tapper and the other lady all the credit in the world. They were neutral. Now, I know Jake Tapper and CNN hates Donald Trump, or they love to hate him because he helps their ratings. But they were neutral. I've seen people say, well, they should have fact-checked Trump. When you fact-check on these debates, it's always toward the left. Always. Just like that one time Mitt Romney was debating Obama, and she fact-checked Mitt Romney on the debate stage and made Mitt Romney kind of stutter up. That's not the debate host's job. Now, you can fact-check them afterward on the program afterward, or you know whose job it really is? It's the opponent's job to fact-check. It should have been Joe Biden's job to say, nope, that's not true. Nope, that's not true. On the debate stage. That's what Biden should have done if all Trump did was lie. That's what he should have done. But he was not into it enough. You have to blame yourself. The Democrats have to blame themselves for this. You can't blame CNN for this. For the love of God, CNN wipes Joe Biden's butt on a regular basis. You can't blame them for this. And yeah, or is the left-wing media talking bad about Biden for once? Yes, because he was awful. That's how bad Joe Biden did that the media is admitting it. If you want to see something kind of comedic, I listened to Morning Joe last night. Joe Scarborough, he's on MSNBC. His wife is on the show. I forget her name, but they got married. I just found that out. She almost cried. She almost cried on the show. And then Joe Scarborough has to give a full, he said, well, I'm going to be honest, that debate wasn't great. And then he gives like a full 5 to 10 minute rant about how great of a president Joe Biden was, but he didn't perform well last night. The left-wing media is coping hard. The mainstream left-wing media is coping hard. The only person you'll see not cope hard, and he's not mainstream, but he's left-wing, is Cenk Uygur. Now, Cenk Uygur's a borderline communist. He's a socialist, a far left. He doesn't like Joe Biden. That's why he won't cope. But he'll tell you the truth that Biden did horrible on that. And I don't like Cenk. I think Cenk's ridiculous on things. But he's right. Biden did do horrible. And, and he actually did so bad that people in the left-wing media are talking about replacing Biden and putting up another nominee. I will say, it is suspicious that we're having this presidential debate so early. We've never had a presidential debate this early. It's 4 months before the election. We haven't even had the conventions yet, guys. So yeah, could Biden be replaced? This is the thing everyone's talking about. Could Joe Biden be replaced? I mean, maybe. But those delegates, by party rule and a lot of times by state law, are pledged to vote for who the people voted for in the primary. So they are pledged to Joe Biden. The only way that they could change their vote, honestly, is if there's only 3 situations, is if Joe Biden said, I'm not going to run anymore, I'm stepping down. But if he does that, he admits defeat. He admits that Donald Trump was going to beat him in the election. If the election was held today, Trump wins. Now, I can't answer that in November yet. We're not in November. We still got a lot of time. Joe Biden could still win this election. He could. Okay, it's not unwinnable for him. He can still win this election. But he gave us a huge win last night because how bad he was. And there still is scheduled one more presidential debate. Now, is Joe Biden actually going to go out there one more time to debate? Maybe. But he also could say, well, because Donald Trump posts this on Truth Social, I can't be on a debate stage with him and make up some bullcrap reason because how bad he got beat last night. And maybe economy turns around, or maybe Israel has a deal with Hamas and that helps him, or maybe Ukraine pushes back Russia a little bit. You never know. You literally never know. Maybe gas prices go down. Maybe he can get Saudi Arabia to lower gas prices or whatnot, and things start looking better for Biden, and he doesn't want to do another debate. Maybe. But there's really only 3 ways that you can replace Joe Biden right now. Is you convince him to not run for re-election. You pull out the 25th Amendment, which would be extremely hard. Because what would happen with the 25th Amendment would be is people in Joe Biden's cabinet are saying he's incapable of holding office anymore, so they oust him, and then Kamala Harris would be vice president. Or, this is dark, and God forbid it ever happen, someone kills him. And that's it, honestly. That's the only way you can get rid of Joe Biden right now, is convince him not to run, invoke the 25th Amendment, or somebody kills him. And God forbid the last one happen. And some people will say, well, you hate Biden. You wouldn't mind if he passed. Yeah. Well, listen, I don't like Joe Biden. I think he's in rebellion to God. I think he's a horrible president. But he's still the leader of my country. He's still my president. I still want him to be a good president. He's still made in God's image. Jesus died for Joe Biden. Jesus loves him. I don't want anything bad to happen to him. I don't think God would rejoice if something awful happened to Joe Biden. I want Joe Biden to repent and get saved. I want Donald Trump to repent and get saved. I'm not convinced that Trump is a born-again Christian, and I know some evangelicals will get mad at that, but I mean, I'm not voting for Trump because he's this good, godly man. I think if you've convinced yourself that he's this good, godly man, then, man, you're really weak when it comes to discernment. I mean, you just are. And Now, and some people say, well, judge not, lest you be judged. Well, listen, don't take that verse out of context either. I'm not going around telling everyone they're going to hell. Okay, I don't know everyone's circumstance, but the Bible also says you'll know them by their fruit. And when Donald Trump has cheated on every wife he had, including his current wife, and the one thing, one criticism I have about Donald Trump during the debate is, this is the one lie Trump told in the debate, for sure, is Biden called him out for having sex with a porn star when his wife was pregnant. And Donald Trump broke a political rule, and he repeated what he said. All Trump should have done is said that didn't happen and move on. But Donald Trump said, I did not have sex with a porn star. Tell me what Republican nominee and what evangelicals would love to hear that from a normal Republican nominee, him saying I did not have sex with a porn star. My goodness. That was bad. I mean, the Republican nominee for president said on a national debate stage, I did not have sex with a porn star. If this was Bill Clinton, the whole... oh, man. Oh, I'm an evangelical, okay? I'm a Christian. And I try my best to be. But, man, if you condemn all the evil of Bill Clinton's sexual past and you don't condemn Donald Trump's sexual past, you're just a hypocrite. I mean, you are the biggest hypocrite. I mean, Donald Trump's had a lot of sexual sins, just like Bill Clinton has. And for us to say, well, but Donald Trump's forgiven, I mean, I hope he is. I hope he is. And listen, most people are sexual sinners. It's not like I'm an angel in that category, okay? But I am forgiven. Jesus has forgave me for my sexual sins. But the thing is, I'm repentant. I've admitted I've done wrong, and I want to move on and do better. And I struggle with lust just like most men do. But I say, Jesus help me. Forgive me for my shortfalls. Trump goes up there. He says, I never had sex with a porn star. I never did the dirty with Stormy Daniels. I am pure as the driven snow. Then evangelicals are like, yes, he's one of us. Or. Come on, guys. Show some discernment. You're hurting us with credibility. I mean, there's even a worship song about Donald Trump now. And my gosh, it's just adultery. At what point does it become idolatry? And, you can like Donald Trump. You can like some things about Donald Trump. You can support and vote for Donald Trump. But for the love of God, don't worship this man. Oh, man, I went on side rant. I'm sorry. But when it comes to replacing Joe Biden, getting back on topic, even if one of those three things happens, either he drops out of a race, the 25th Amendment is invoked, or he dies or someone kills him, God forbid, then at the convention, the delegates are going to fight. They're going to fight like cats and dogs. The people from Michigan are going to fight for their governor, Wretched Whitner. Forgive me if I mispronounce her name. People from California are going to go hard for Gavin Newsom. People from North Carolina are going to go hard for their Democrat governor. Okay? I mean, that's just how politics works. It would be a fight. Now, eventually, people would make deals, and okay, you get vice president, you get secretary of state, and okay, we're going to do this, and we'll do that, and okay, you're going to give me this position and that position. They would eventually make deals and negotiate. That's how politics works. And just like in 2020, when a lot of people dropped out, when Pete Buttigieg dropped out of the election right before Super Tuesday, I posted on Facebook as like, so you're going to drop out right before Super Tuesday? Okay, they made a deal. I said maybe for vice president. They didn't make a deal for vice president, but Pete Buttigieg is now the Secretary of Transportation. They 100% made a deal. They made a deal. I knew it. I mean, that's just politics. We can't be naive. People in politics make crooked deals all the time. Sometimes they're not crooked. Sometimes they are crooked. That is politics. Okay, that's politics. And so that's why Pete Buttigieg dropped out the day before Super Tuesday in 2020. He made a deal with Joe Biden, and now he is the White House Secretary of Transportation. A deal happened. That's what happened. But yeah, this debate was a train wreck. But now they're going off and they're campaigning. And I will show you one little clip about them arguing about golf. And I think this is the funniest response Trump had. Now, I do think Trump slipped a little bit back into Trumpian territory when he was challenging Joe Biden on his golf game. But Joe Biden was just as bad as Trump when they were talking about golf. But Trump, he slips back into reality. He's like, oh, okay, I have to remember what my campaign was teaching me. Because Trump actually is listening to his campaign right now. For the most part. Maybe a few tweets get out here and there. But when his campaign says, go out there, act calm, cool, and collective, he did. He responded well. He listened. Trump listened for once. Something that I've been praying for 8 years. He listened. I remember right before the debate happened, and y'all might laugh at me, but right before this debate happened, I said a prayer. And I was getting ready to turn in. I said, God, I know he doesn't deserve it. But for the love of God, please, Jesus, just let Trump act like a normal person. Just let him act calm, cool, and collective. I know he doesn't deserve it, Lord. I know he's a jerk. But please, God, please. Now, you might think this is weird, but I did. I prayed. It's like, Holy Spirit, please let Trump be calm, cool, and collective and not... let him be a normal person. Because if he's a normal person, we win. If he goes out there, he yells, he screams, we lose. But if he's just normal, I was like, God, please. He doesn't deserve it. I understand. But please, I think it's best for the nation if he wins. And please let Trump be normal. I did. It's like, it's the only time I've ever prayed for a politician to be normal and calm, cool, collective. But I did. I was like, God, please let Trump be normal. Oh, gosh. But okay, let's get on to the golf swinging debacle. All right, everyone, I'm going to play you a small clip from the debate, and I'll give you a review afterward.
But I took 2 cognitive tests. I took physical exams every year. And, we knock on wood wherever we may have wood, that I'm in very good health. I just won 2 club championships, not even senior, 2 regular club championships. To do that, you have to be quite smart, and you have to be able to hit the ball a long way. And I do it. He doesn't do it. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. He challenged me to a golf match. He can't hit a ball 50 yards. I think I'm in very good shape. I feel that I'm as in good a shape as I was 25, 30 years ago. Actually, I'm probably a little bit lighter, but I'm in as good a shape as I was years ago. I feel very good. I feel the same. But I was willing to take a cognitive test, and you know what? If I didn't do well, I aced them. Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who's a great guy when he was White House doctor, and then I took another one, a similar one, and one of them said they've never seen anybody ace him.
Thank you. President Biden?
You can see he is 6'5" and only 225 pounds, or 235 pounds. Well, you said 6'4", 200. Well, anyway, anyway, just take a look at what he says he is, and take a look at what he is. Look, I'd be happy to have a driving contest with him. The reason I got my handicap, which when I was vice president, down to a 6. But by the way, I told you before, I'm happy to play golf with you if you carry your own bag. Think you can do it?
That's the biggest lie that he's a 6 handicap of all.
I was an 8 handicap.
Yeah.
8. But I have, how many?
I've seen you swing. I know you swing.
Okay, let's
not act like children.
President Trump, we're going to...
Let's not act like children.
Okay. Does Trump get into it a little bit with him? Yes. But Biden brings this up. Biden's defensive about his golf game. Oh, let's not act like children. Let's not act like children. Then Joe goes, "You are a child." Oh, that's gold, guys. That is gold. I mean, oh, this is the former President of the United States and the President of the United States arguing about their golf game. What Trump should have done right there, I wish he would have done it. He said, okay, Joe, I'll carry my golf bag. We'll do a full round of golf, and we'll live stream it. We'll put it on Twitch, we'll put it on YouTube, we'll put it on everywhere. And we'll live stream it. It'll be a charity event. Whoever wins will get $100,000 for their charity. And time and place, and we'll do it. That's what he should have done. There's no way Biden... Listen, I've played golf before. I have some clubs. I haven't played in a long time. Golf is a frustrating game. It is so frustrating. Even if you're in a cart. I remember one time I was playing golf with my brother-in-law, and I kept hitting above the ball. And like professionally, every time you swing would have been counted. I was in between two trees. Oh man, I'm over the stupid ball again. I just picked the ball up and threw it. I'm tired of this crap. I'm an old football player, man. Line someone up in front of me and let me hit them. Oh, I actually started getting. I didn't get great at golf, but I had a decent drive. At the very, for a guy who hadn't played much golf at all, I went and golfed with some church friends in Harrisburg one time, and a few of them was like, "Yeah, you got a pretty good drive, Josh." I was like, "Oh, thanks." And but I haven't played golf in a long time, and but I know that people are upset because two of the people that want to be the most powerful man in the world are talking about golf. To be fair, I think Trump won that exchange. Let's not act like children. Oh, that was great. Oh, man. And Trump, before we leave the debate and we talk a little bit more about going forward, Trump hammered Biden on the border. I mean, Biden had no answer, hardly whatsoever. It was sad. It was just sad. And Trump kept going back and back to the border. Even with abortion, where people think that this is Trump's weakest issue because of Roe v. Wade. And listen, I'm pro-life. I love that Roe v. Wade was overturned. But still, I know that is Biden's pitch right now is Trump's a convicted felon, and he started an insurrection, and he took away your right to kill a baby. But even when all this was happening, Biden jumped from abortion to illegal immigration. And like he went from Trump's quote unquote weakest issue to his weakest issue. It's just like the one thing in politics you don't ever do. That and say on stage that you didn't have sex with a porn star. So they both broke the rule of politics. Trump won this debate. I want to show you a clip of Joe Biden basically using Biden as a puppet. And it's so awful. It's so cringe, and it's evil what Joe Biden is doing to Joe. Okay, let me show you. This moment of cringe is brought to you by the First Lady of the United States.
Joe, you did such a great job. You answered every question. You knew all the... And let me ask the crowd, what did Trump do?
And Joe Biden looks like, oh my gosh, he looks awful. And she had to guide him off the debate stage. He's not with us anymore, guys. He hasn't been with us in a long time. This is sad. This is elderly abuse. The First Lady of the United States is a jerk to her husband. All right, everyone. Oh, I'm going to go to the Bible verse of the day. All right, guys, this is your Bible verse of the day. Proverbs 29, verse 2. When the righteous thrive, the people rejoice. When the wicked rule, the people groan. And John Calvin has a really good quote also about this that I want to quote. So John Calvin said, when God wants to judge a nation, he gives them wicked rulers. Yep. Yes, he does. All right, everyone. God bless you guys. Keep praying for this country. I'll be back later this week with the Ray Sexton interview with some inter-Christian fellowship and conversation with my Lutheran brother in the Lord. God bless you guys. See you next episode.